Oh, straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So.
Hi, I'm Rupha Ramani and you're watching Firstpost. Pakistan cricket is in the news yet again. Imagine you're in a press conference. You're nervous, you're anxious, and you're asked the most bizarre, inappropriate question. What would your response be? You'll know more about it in the show later on, so definitely stick around. Also, we have a special interview to talk about Indian cricket team's road ahead for the T20 World Cup in June. Who should the captain be? How prepared is the team? Especially with uncertainty looming large over two of the biggest names, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. And just what is on with Lewis Hamilton? It's almost the story of a superhero feeling like he has lost his superpowers. All of that heading your way, including a sneak peek to a special show next week. But first, our headlines in Sports 360. Portuguese football star Cristiano Ronaldo finds himself in a legal battle. He faces a class action lawsuit seeking at least $1 billion in damages for his role in promoting cryptocurrency-related NFTs issued by Binance. The lawsuit alleges that Ronaldo's promotion of the firm was deceptive and unlawful. Ronaldo launched his inaugural NFT CR7 collection with Binance last year, ahead of the 2022 World Cup. In cricket, Dominica refuses to host the T20 World Cup next year. Its government cites inability to complete work on practice and match venues before the tournament begins in June. Dominica was one of the 7 countries in the Caribbean shortlisted as the hosts. The West Indies and the USA will, of course, are scheduled to host it from the 4th of June to the 30th of next year. And BCCI announces India squad for the South Africa tour. Suryakumar Yadav will continue as the skipper for the T20 series. KL Rahul will be captaining the ODI fixtures. Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma won't be travelling for this white ball campaign. Sanju Samson makes his comeback. Liverpool fire into Europa League final 16 as they beat Lask 4-0. Liverpool sealed the top spot in Group E with a double from Cody Gakpo and goals from Luis Diaz and Mohamed Salah on Anfield. Salah scored his 199th goal for the Reds. And fans of Polish side Legia Warsaw were barred entry to their match at Aston Villa after clashes with police outside the stadium with flares thrown at the officers. 3 police officers were injured in the clash. No Legia fans were allowed into the Villa Park for the game. That Villa won 2-1. Legia Warsaw said Aston Villa had given the Polish club lower allocation of tickets than they were entitled to under UEFA regulations. Now, the squads for the series, the T20, ODI and Test series against South Africa was announced last night. True to reports, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli's names were absent, but here are a few takeaways from that announcement. Let's start with the T20 squad first, as this is the inadvertent year of the T20s owing to the World Cup. Some of the seniors are not present owing to injuries and just their personal choice, like the names that were mentioned earlier, and of course, Hardik Pandya to add to that list. Then there is the exclusion of KL Rahul. That makes us ask the question, is it a rest or does he even figure in the T20 World Cup plans with explosive batters across the lineup being picked like Yashasvi Jaiswal, Jitesh, Ishan and of course Rinku, who are pushing for a place in the 11 come the World Cup. Also, Virat Kohli has not played a T20 since 2022. If he were to be part of the 11, then his role, which is that of a steady number 3, will need 2 explosive openers right at the top to give that impetus. Something to think about and very few T20 matches to try and figure it out in. And then there's, of course, the question of the latest form and the IPL, that the IPL, of course, often throws up exciting prospects, which is bound to happen this coming season too, to make the decisions of the selection committee and those involved all the more difficult yet fun. Moving to the one-dayers, Akshar Patel, Sanju Samson have come back for various reasons. Tamil Nadu find Sai Sudarshan, who is creating a lot of waves and holds a lot of promise in the years to come, has been picked in here. Massive boost for this young lad also who plays for the Gujarat Titans in the Indian Premier League. On to the Test series. You can literally hear the sadness as Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane don't find their names in this list. Is it curtains for two very prolific careers, especially in Test cricket? But the good news, of course, Jasprit Bumrah's comeback to Tests is extremely heartening, especially after his injury scare that made many of us dread that he would hit the pause button on his Test career. The one thing, of course, to note, just 3 cricketers have been called up for all 3 squads, telling us that the board has faith in their abilities across all formats. That's Ruturaj Gaikwad, Shreyas Iyer, and one man who's shot to prominence recently post his IPL stint with the Chennai Super Kings, Mukesh Kumar. Now, I caught up with former India cricketer and one who's won the ODI World Cup in 2011, Piyush Chawla, to speak about India's road to the T20 World Cup. And he vehemently said Rohit Sharma was his captain. That and lots more. Listen in. Yes, joining me is someone who's a man of many, many roles right now. He's been a former India player. He's won a World Cup, of course. He's won IPL titles. He's now with the Mumbai Indians. He's also a commentator. He's playing Vijay Hazare as well. Too many things happening, Piyush Chawla. Thank you so much for joining in.
Yeah, you're most welcome. And yeah, too many things, which is good to have so many options on your plate always. So yeah, I'm enjoying the role. You know, be it as a player or as a broadcaster, I'm enjoying every bit of it.
Yes, and we can see that, of course. But let's get down to the details, as we say. First up, you were doing commentary during the World Cup. We saw that. How would you sum up a very disheartening campaign for Team India? You know, looked really good right till the final hurdle.
Well, I won't say disheartening. Obviously, you know, you all World Cup, but the way the team played throughout the World Cup, you know, winning 10 games on the trot, that was really good. And you obviously, as an Indian fan, as a player, as, you know, well-wisher, everything, we wanted team to win the World Cup. But that didn't happen on that particular day. Australia played better cricket. And I think it was a sad thing as a fan, as a cricketer, but you have to take these things to your chin.
Yes, rightfully said. But you know a lot of the players who part of the outfit currently. Someone like Rohit Sharma, who's captained. You've been a part of the dressing room with him. How would you see someone like him going through this? You know, we heard that he obviously broke down in the dressing room. But what would a state of mind for a leader who's experienced this loss? What would be going through him?
Well, obviously, we all know like how much he was looking forward as a captain to this World Cup. And the way, as I mentioned, the way team played throughout the World Cup, we all were expecting the cup will come home. But that didn't happen. So he was, you know, he was heartbroken. He was really upset about it. But he also played so much cricket throughout his life. And he knows how to take all these things to the chin. And he'll move on because you have no choice as a player, because you have to get up again, go to your training again and start the things again.
Correct. And even as a lot of reports are right now emerging, Piyush, of, you know, obviously him taking a bit of break, and rightfully so. They've played a lot of cricket and there is much more cricket left because we have a T20 World Cup, another World Cup in 7 months. How do you see the certainty? I mean, as Rohit, as a captain at this World Cup, and do you see him to be the undoubted captain, without any doubt, him to lead the side for the T20 World Cup as well?
Well, it totally depends on him because the kind of campaign he had in the 50-over World Cup, and we all know the kind of impact he had as a batter, not only as a captain. Because I always say Rohit is not a captain, he is a leader. He set an example for everyone. And the way he was leading the side in the World Cup, the way he was, you know, setting up the tone in every game. Because we have seen that India is scoring that many runs, 340, 320 on a difficult pitches. So Rohit was one of the main reason. If you see, he was giving you a flying start. So the kind of form he has shown, the kind of impact he has shown, I would definitely love to have him as a captain in the T20 World Cup.
A word on Suryakumar's captaincy as well, Piyush. How do you see him coming in as a stopgap captain, of course? How do you see his role?
Well, we all know him, what kind of a guy he is. He's a very chilled out kind of a guy, and he loves his cricket and the way he leads. He's somebody who always there to support the players, and that's what you want from your captain. So he's always there for the players.
T20 World Cup 7 months from now, what would you say if you were part of that think tank at the T20 dressing room and you've been part of a lot of successful campaigns of T20 outfit? What would the talk be to shake this off and focus on something else? And ideally, what should be the preparation like?
See, the games which India team is supposed to play before the World Cup, there are not too many games.
Yes.
When you talk about the India versus playing bilateral series against the different teams.
Yeah.
But IPL, obviously, it's also a brilliant tournament, and the players who are already playing for India and the players who are going to play IPL. So from there, you can pick few of the players as well, looking at their current form. Because for me, T20 is something where you have to look at the current form as well.
Yeah.
And we do talk about youth, but I think experience is also important. And looking at that, and as I mentioned, it totally depends on Virat and Rohit whether they want to play T20 or not.
Now imagine you have been announced as captain of the national cricket team. You take over as skipper amidst a lot of chaos on and off the field. That means more responsibility on your shoulders. Responsibility to start everything from scratch and build a new team around you, starting on a fresh slate. You interact with the media before your first series as captain. What questions would you expect? Something around the team, the plans that the new captain has for his squad, of course, the feeling of proudly leading your side onto a cricket match, right? But if you're a Pakistan captain, then trust things never to go as per the script. Meet Shan Masood, Pakistan's new Test captain. He's gearing up to lead Pakistan in a challenging series down under. The eyes of the world are all on him, and obviously, he would be all nerves. Even at 34, guess what he was asked? A reporter had quite the nerve to ask him how it felt being made the sacrificial lamb. Yep, you heard me right. Now, there are, of course, a few animals and sports persons would love to be called. The goat is one and has the completely opposite reference to that of a lamb. When a player is called a goat, then it is the highest compliment ever, greatest of all time. The lamb, on the other hand, which is a close relative of the goat, sits right across a fine line. Lamb is associated with being meek, and the phrase lamb to the slaughter, of course, comes to mind. So, of course, this is a very, very tricky question to navigate.
Firstly, we see it as an opportunity. When you haven't done something before in your history, then you have an opportunity to go out there and try to change it. So that's what we are trying to do. And as far as being sacrificial lamb is concerned, the captaincy, playing as a player in the side, these are all temporary things at the end of the day. As long as you are in that place or seat, you should relish the opportunity, enjoy it, and try to take responsibility and give your best ability to the team.
But you got to give credit to Shan Masood there. Anyone in that situation could have lost his cool and lashed out or been sarcastic to just put the reporter in his or her place. But Masood gave a smart rebuttal without losing his calm and didn't fall for the jibe. Of course, the internet was flooded with memes thereafter. The goat and lamb analogy was everywhere. Everyone took a bit of a poke at Pakistan, the mess it is in, how they had a poor World Cup, including that hammering at the hands of India, and how the country never fails to provide fodder to the meme makers out there. But back to serious cricket and Shan Masood. He took over as captain from Babar Azam, who, as we know, stepped down from all formats following Pakistan's horrendous World Cup campaign. Now, Shan Masood has a job on his hands, and that is just to put it very, very mildly. His first test is against the mighty Australian team, and that kicks off and the first test, in fact, kicks off on the 14th of this month. And that too on Australian turf. Quite a challenge that's going to be. And why do we say this? Because look at the head-to-head between the two sides. Pretty skewed in the favour of the Australians. Out of the 69 test matches the two sides have played overall against each other, Australia have won 34, while Pakistan have only managed to win 15. Of course, that is going way back in the past, and squads definitely have transformed over the years. But the narrative has not really changed. In fact, last time too, Pakistan had a forgettable tour down under. In 2019, they lost both the test matches by an innings margin. And Shan Masood was part of that squad. Not just that, Masood is battling the thought of a whitewash that Pakistan has faced the last two times they have toured Australia, and yet has to put up a brave front.
We tried to replicate the Australian conditions in our training camp in Rawalpindi, which has a bouncy pitch. we need to score 400 and then take 20 wickets against Australia. We did not do that on our last tour in 2019. So that is the goal. The positive thing will have to be the belief to play well, and all those playing contribute to give Australia some tough times.
And it isn't like he's taking a completely new team to Australia. He has the experienced Imam ul Haq, Mohammad Rizwan, Sarfaraz Ahmed, Shaheen Shah Afridi and of course Babar Azam himself in the squad. But given the head-to-head record and Pakistan's performance of late, you'd sense that Australia playing at home definitely have the upper hand. That was about the upcoming Test series, but let's look at the larger picture for a minute. What are the circumstances under which Shan Masood has taken over as captain? Can he fill the big shoes of his predecessors? Remember, this is a team that was led by the likes of Javed Miandad, Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, Inzamam ul Haq, Misbah ul Haq, serious legends of the game and for Pakistan cricket. But like we've been telling you, Pakistan cricket is in troubled waters now. There's a lot happening off the field, meaning the confusion and blame game in the Pakistan Cricket Board. Supposed WhatsApp chats involving now former captain Babar Azam with the board are out in the public. Chief selector Inzamam ul Haq quit as the selector following the World Cup. Former players are grabbing headlines for misogynistic and bizarre remarks. This in turn has of course taken a toll on its players. Their fitness standards haven't been the greatest, their performance not the best. And to top it all, there have been reports constantly talking about rift in the dressing room. Not a good sign at all. This is pretty much what Sri Lanka is facing at the moment too, something similar. Both these sides have a rich legacy of players who have won accolades for their country. But now, thanks to so many other factors at play outside the cricket stadium, they're struggling to put together a team to capitalize on that. It is amid so much drama and chaos that Shan Masood comes into picture, leading as a captain. Now, just so you know, Shan Masood isn't a senior pro himself. He's played just around 30 matches, so far scoring almost 1,600 runs at a decent average of just about 30. So the challenge is even greater now for the sacrificial lamb, so to say. Not just to improve and score big runs for his team, but ensure or try to ensure that he leads from the front and pick up the crumbs of whatever that is left of this seemingly disgruntled outfit. All right, now would you consider a seasoned chef who pulls off flawless dishes only when given many ingredients or the top ingredients, or when they cook something magical with limited resources? I would be impressed by the latter, of course, and so would you. Now, this analogy brings me to our last story for tonight. It's on Formula One and one of its most revered racers, Lewis Hamilton, who capped off another Formula One season, failing to break free from a jinx that seems to have settled into his driver's seat. Once and for all, he's pointed his finger to his four-wheeler companion for this upsetting season. Now, have you heard people say that someone is driving them crazy? Hamilton's car seems to have taken this phrase quite literally, at least according to him. In a recent interview, he questioned the car, and that isn't new. Hamilton has spoken about the flawed model multiple times. But in his classic man versus machine game, the next laps of his career definitely seem to be a little bumpy.
There's a new pit lane talk that's nothing less than a tragic comedy. At the center of that is a 7-time Formula One world champion who just ended another season mired in crisis. And when the next one starts, Lewis Hamilton will have one question on his mind. Will he ever win a race, let alone another championship? The 2023 F1 season ended with the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in November. That marked Hamilton's second successive F1 season without a win. When his slide began in 2022, it was unexpected. Nobody saw it coming. But this season has been rather a one-sided competition. Hamilton, who ended third overall, said,
When you have difficult seasons like this, there are always going to be moments when you're like, is it me or is it the car? Do you still have it or has it gone?
It's like listening to a superhero question if they left their cape at home. Hamilton finished the last Grand Prix of this season 9th. Throughout the year, his frustration with the car was persistent. It would flare up time and again. As if it's the car that was silently plotting against him at every turn. It still had the shortcomings of the version that was unveiled in the previous season. Or that's what he said, that the design team didn't implement the changes he had specifically wanted. In the season opener, Hamilton finished 5th in the race at Bahrain, almost 50 seconds behind the Flying Dutchman, Max Verstappen. He said Mercedes deliberately ignored the issues that were raised.
I have driven so many cars in my life. I know what a car needs. I know what a car doesn't need. I think it's really about accountability.
What's funny here is that Hamilton staunchly refuses to believe that there may be better talents or that the competition has simply grown tougher. It's almost like the lines between relying on machine and having faith in your own abilities have blurred. Is it denial or is it selective confidence? If the only ticket to victory is the car, does it some way diminish Hamilton's vast experience of being a racing hero? He himself admits that now the gap between Red Bull and Mercedes is massive, that toppling Max Verstappen is getting to be more difficult at this point. The anticipation as to how the next season will turn out for him is intriguing. He vows to come back stronger.
When you think about training, it's not just training, it's recovery, it's meditation, it's cleansing your body, it's going through all these processes and dedicating time for that, and also spending time with family and re-energizing. So I'm like having that stuff planned so that I come back in the next season stronger than ever.
So will the engines rev, or will he choke on the fumes of a flawed car yet again? The world is holding its breath to see if this racing legend can conquer his own doubts in the next few circuits.
Now here's a sneak peek of a blockbuster episode that awaits you on the 5th of December. This time it's a cricketer. Well, not just any, but one of South Africa's greatest. He may have retired now, but he continues to leave his impact across leagues around the world. Faf du Plessis, the former captain of the South African national cricket team. He spoke about his close ties with Indian legends Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, his stint with two of the biggest franchises in the world, the Chennai Super Kings and the Royal Challengers Bangalore, and of course, the tough campaigns of South African teams in ICC events. Take a listen.
Just been in recovery. It's a tricky one because it's quite a slow recovery. There's like for 2 months you can't do much, and then you manage to go to the Qatar F1 in Doha, which was amazing, where I got to meet David Beckham, which was probably the best day of my life.
Big tournament that just concluded in India, Faf. You were, of course, part of it in the commentary panel. You've observed a lot of the World Cups. I have to particularly ask you about South Africa's exit once again at the semi-final stage.
You're going to require a lot of things to fall your way. Luck, obviously in the past it's been weather, injuries, all those things. But yeah, for this tournament, a lot of anger and some support as well from the true fans. I would say true is probably the wrong word, but the optimistic fans. So you get all those different versions. So it feels, as a captain, you do feel like you wear the brunt of it, and that's how it should be. The highest trees always get the most wind. So that's generally your captain, your coach. So obviously, from a performance point of view, enjoying last season. From a personal point of view, it's by far the best IPL season I've ever had, and there's been some. From a personal point of view, there's been some good ones, but this one, just in terms of how I felt like I evolved as a batter and the way that I played, really enjoyed that.
Built a really solid relationship bond with Virat Kohli. We all saw that. Have you been in touch with him? Because we know the kind of person he is. He's always already planning for the next season. How has that panned out?
Really good relationship. So he's an important part of RCB and the think tank around it. So obviously, there's a lot of hours that goes behind the scenes and planning and talking, and it's not always.
Now that brings us to the end of the show, but before we go, here's our parting shot or the last serve. Now, we told you yesterday Uganda qualified for the T20 World Cup for the first time, and trust them to know how to celebrate a win. It was truly a landmark moment for them. Here's a look at how they celebrated this win. Well, trust any African sporting team to really know how to celebrate and how to let the hair loose. They don't let the pressure get to them. But on that note, thanks so much for watching us. That brings us to the end of this episode of First Sports. I'll see you again next week.